I'm Norm Hann, and this is the West Coast. I've been a wilderness and ocean guide for the last 25 years here on the coast. 15 of those years, I've been running my own business, Norm Hann Expeditions. We take people on multi-day paddleboarding trips up and down the coast and throughout Canada. And I'm also a Paddle Canada instructor. Norm Hann Expeditions likes to connect people to wild places. So we spend a lot of time on multi-day trips, traveling up and down our BC coastline. We run trips in the Yukon, and we've also been running trips to Belize. I like connecting people to the cultural and historical lands of our First Nations people. We love looking for wildlife, so whether that's killer whales or humpback whales, one of our favorite things to do is view wildlife from the paddleboards.
So we always looked up to Norm Hann as our paddleboard hero, but we didn't have an excuse to work with him before. And when Ryan designed this PVC with the aramid fibers inside instead of polyester, aramid is Kevlar, like a Kevlar vest, stab-proof, bulletproof. We said, we need a board that's worthy of this material, and we need to do it right. And so we reached out to Norm, and he is just an incredible human being and a wealth of knowledge. And we made the most incredible touring board possible.
Mandy and Ryan from Sea Gods reached out to me about wanting to design a touring board. And that's how we started talking about what the ideal touring board would be here on the coast. So I took a lot of my experience and boards that I've already been on and already paddled. And our goal was really to design one of the best performance touring inflatables. Inflatables are an amazing way to travel on our coastline. Back when I first started running trips on the BC coastline, I think that was back in 2010 up in the Great Bear Rainforest, we brought hardboards up there, but it was a real challenge moving 8 to 10 hardboards up the coast and then putting them on boats and taking them off boats. And when the design of inflatables started to get a little bit better, we switched all of our hardboards for inflatable touring boards. And it's just made a world of difference. They're so easy to pack up. The boards are light, so they're really able to manage well, and they're also quite durable, so they handle the rigors of our coastline quite well. Yeah, if you're not planning on going on a multi-day trip and you just want to take this board and connect to the water, it's a perfect board for that because you're really going to enjoy the board. I always, the board that I always like to choose is a board that puts a smile on your face. And I think when you get on the water with this and you feel the stability, the performance, and the speed of it, you're really going to enjoy it. It's going to put a smile on your face. You're going to be able to paddle this board wherever you want. You don't have to do multi-day trips on it. I wanted performance. I wanted a board that was going to be fast, but stable, and be able to carry a lot of gear if I needed it. One of the performance features and designs in this is the use of the aramid fibers, which is in the PVC. And you can see these pieces of material on the outside rails. And what this does is it really adds stiffness without a lot of weight to this board. But one of the other really cool features about this board is we've built a V-hull into this board. So the V-hull, you can actually see, starts from the top of the deck and moves to the nose of the board. This is an amazing feature. I noticed it right away when I started paddling on the board, and this board is one of the best tracking inflatables that I've ever been on. Not only does it track well, but with the V-hull, it actually displaces that water. So one of the challenges with inflatables is that it can feel like the boards, there's a little bit of suction onto the water. And so that V-hull really breaks that surface tension and cuts through the water beautifully. It's a fast board and it tracks super well with that new V-hull. So there's generally there's two stabilities that you'll find in a board. There's what we call primary stability and there's secondary stability. With the V-hull that we've built into this board, the primary stability, when you first get on this board, it might feel just a touch tweaky, like you'll get on rail a little bit. The secondary stability, once you really start to lean on that rail, the secondary stability is really solid and provides great stability as you're paddling. But don't let that first feel of the initial or primary stability throw you off. It's got great secondary stability, and you're going to find beautiful performance in all conditions on the lakes, rivers, or oceans. We've got the center carrying handle, and we've got the tail handle. The nose handle is great because if it's just two people, one can grab the front of the board, another person can grab the board, and you can carry it quite easily. If you're within a group, let's say on a multi-day expedition, and your board is fully loaded, it's quite heavy. Adding these 2 side handles allows 4 people to carry this board right up to the beach. You don't even have to unload your board down at the water's edge. You can bring it right up to where your campsite is, right where you're going to be pitching the tent. So I find that really handy. This board was fully outfitted with a lot of D-rings, a lot of attachment points. I hate having boards where the attachment points are not in the right area. So I've set this up perfectly for what I think is going to be the easiest way to carry gear and the most efficient way to do it. We've got a much thicker gauge of bungee cord, so this is really going to hold up well on those coastal expeditions. We've got a Diamond Groove EVA deck pad. I love this deck pad. One, it's got Roy's artwork on the front here, but it's a very comfortable deck pad. The other feature that I love in this board is it's got a kick pad on it. So a couple really great features for that. If you're doing pivot turns and practicing, maybe you're just working in flat water and want to try a pivot turn, it's really nice because you can get your foot back against that edge. You know exactly where the tail is and where you need to be to help initiate those fun pivot turns. The other thing that I like is if I'm actually packing gear and I've got a larger dry bag, I put that on the tail and the end of that dry bag just rests up against the edge of that kick pad and provides really nice stability for that bag to stay there in rougher conditions. So you can get this board up to 20 PSI, making it super stiff and rigid. It doesn't have to be that high. If you're just going out for a nice flat water paddle, anywhere between 14 and 18 PSI will work well. Yeah, so not only do we have Roy's beautiful artwork on here, but we've got my Expedition logo, which has been done by Bo Smith. He's a Gitxsan artist from the North Coast, and he's actually good friends and is trained under Roy himself. So we've got a whole message within this, my Expedition crest here as well. So another thing that I love that Sea Gods does on this board and all of their boards is they add some really great safety information here of what you need to be carrying with you, your PFD, your leash, a P-less whistle, checking the weather forecast. It's got a whole little safety checklist here, which I love. And then it's got how to look after this board. At the very tail, we've got the leash attachment. So this is where your leash is gonna go. Always wear a leash when you're on flat water. It's gonna keep you attached to the board and keep you safe for your day out of paddling. So we went back and forth a lot with where we had put these attachments. We put a lot of thought into it. I've loaded thousands of boards throughout my career. And one thing I do know is where the weight is supposed to sit and how these boards are supposed to carry that weight. The way we have this board set up right now, we've got this thick gauge bungee cord up front a little bit, but one of the nice little features that we've added is we've got a D-ring on the front of the handles. So on some boards, I would use the handle as an attachment point, but we built these D-rings in here on the board so you can take the bungee off the front too, and as your weight gets heavier and you get it closer to your feet for loading, most of your heavy weight is going to be sitting here, and these D-rings are set up perfectly to attach that gear down. Yeah, so a couple of features now. We've got the bottom of the board here. Obviously, the first thing you see is Roy Henry Vickers' absolutely stunning and incredible artwork that he's done on it. We'll talk more about that later. But from this perspective, you can actually see the V-hull. It goes right down to about here and runs right to the nose. So we talked about the importance of that V-hull and how critical it is for speed and performance. And I think that's one of the secret sweet spots that we have on this board is this V-hull and how effective that is at allowing the board to track really well. As I said, it's the best tracking inflatable that I've been on. And the speed, release, and efficiency all happens with that V-hull. The V-hull in combination with the aramid fibers within the PVC. Aramid is just like Kevlar. So everybody knows what Kevlar is, built into jackets and things to make them a little bit stiffer. That's what the aramid does. So the stiffness of the board with the aramid fibers combined with the V-hull makes this, I think, one of the fastest and best performing inflatables on the market. The other things that we have here, really great features. So we upgraded the fin on this West Coast board. We've got a honeycomb fin, and this is a performance fin that's just going to allow the board to track really well. It's going to hold up super well on those coastal expeditions and just allows the board to paddle fast and efficiently and track well. The fin is in a split fin box, so I love this little feature as well. One, it's really easy to put the fin in, but the second thing is one of the challenges that we've always had with inflatables is that when you go to roll the inflatable up, the fin box gets in the way. And actually the fin box can crack if you keep rolling it up ineffectively. So this split fin box that we have here just allows that this board to roll up really well when you're ready to take it traveling. You know, when Sea Gods, Mandy and Ryan originally reached out to me about designing a performance touring board, they said they wanted to get the artwork of Roy Henry Vickers. I've known Roy for a long time. I guided Roy up the coast a number of years ago, and I've just kept in touch with him. Roy's been a huge supporter of mine for some of the conservation work that we've done on the coastline, Stand Up for Great Bear and Stand. 2 expeditions, paddleboard expeditions that I did to try and bring awareness to the threat of oil tankers on the North Coast and through the Great Bear Rainforest. And so the history for Roy and I go back a long way. So I was super excited when Mandy and Ryan told me that they're gonna have feature Roy's art on the bottom of this West Coast board. So as you can see, it's a beautiful West Coast scene. It's got myself paddling up front there with the setting sun. So if you've ever been to Tofino on the west coast of Vancouver Island, where Roy's gallery is, this is a common scene that you'll see. So really proud to have Roy's artwork on the bottom of this West Coast board. I think you're absolutely gonna love it. It looks better in person than it does probably on film. And a big thanks to Roy for his continued support with not only myself, but Sea Gods and everything going on the coast here as well. So what comes with this board? Well, it has a number of accessories that it comes with. We've got the 3-piece travel paddle, carbon fiber shaft, nylon blade. We've got the ground cloth that it comes wrapped in, the dual chamber pump. We've got the high performance honeycomb fin repair kit, important leash, and then a beautiful travel hiking bag that you can put everything into. So I had a really great time designing this new Sea Gods West Coast board with Mandy and Ryan. Really proud to have Roy's spectacular artwork on the bottom of this. And I'm really excited for you to test out this board. I think we've put a lot of thoughtful design into it. I think you're gonna love the performance of it. It doesn't matter if you're going on a multi-day trip, which this is actually designed for, or whether you're paddling at a lake, down a river, or just having a day at the beach. I think you're gonna love this board, and I'm really excited to hear some of the adventures that you'll be going on. Happy paddling and stay safe.